Physicians and nurses went on standby alert here this morning when word was first received that an undetermined number of people had been shot. They did not know what to expect. The first emergency vehicle arrived just before 8 o'clock. 3 wounded were inside and quickly rushed into the hospital, where doctors could assess the severity of their injuries. About an hour later, the second load arrived. The wounded in this case looked much worse. They had not been able to get out of the post office until the incident was over. And ambulance attendants reportedly had some trouble getting blood pressure on one of them during transit.
I thought it was a big joke. I thought it was a big gag.
That was Michael Bigler's first reaction to what he thought were firecrackers or a pop gun going off as he sorted his mail this morning. But it was not a joke, and Michael Bigler, although shot, feels blessed to be alive.
He just shot him. I heard horrifying 7 or 9 shots, probably 7 shots, and screaming from that corner.
Relatives of the injured are thankful, but sad for the families of those who died.
I just feel so bad for all of those people and their families. And I know that we're some of the fortunate ones, even though he's in critical condition.
Homemade. He had made it himself. Bill. Are you presuming that grammar? Well, so you know that I am not aware of. Obviously, you know, we all would feel that someone that did this had to have some type of mental problem. There has been no evidence that he was ever treated for a mental problem, but you know, I'm sure y'all are just well aware of it as I am, that in cases like this that have happened in the past, it's just a momentary snap of the mind somewhere. And I'm not a psychologist, I really don't know how to describe it, but it just, his mind just snapped.
Rick Esser had just recently been promoted to supervisor at the Edmond post office. Police say he was the first person gunned down during Wednesday's massacre. Friends and family remember Rick Esser as a good husband, father, and friend. That's why they find his death so hard to understand.
Such a human tragedy cannot be understood. It can only be accepted. And its acceptance requires a deep faith and an unusually heroic courage.
Rick was genuine. There wasn't any fake to him, so we all respected him and loved him and wish him the best.
Everyone who knew him agrees Rick Esser will be missed. In Bethany, Scott Wallace, News 4 Nightcast.
Most people don't even know where their temporomandibular joint is located, but at least 1 in 4 Americans is too familiar with the pain caused by the jaw joint when it's misaligned. The dysfunction, known as TMJ, can lead to chronic head, neck, and back pain. The condition is treatable, but oftentimes doctors have problems even diagnosing it.
This is a situation where the physician on one hand doesn't really know what the dentist on the other hand does, and frequently the other way around. So the patient may be juggled between the two professions without either one really understanding what's going on.
Tally has been studying TMJ for the past 15 years. He organized this symposium, bringing health healers from all over the world under one roof to look at the symptoms and treatment of the disorder. The goal is to formulate a network of knowledge that can lead to a better understanding of the condition and better trained doctors to treat it.
Many people get bounced from one practitioner to another because of the lack of information among the medical and dental professions. And this is the second purpose of our academy, is to disseminate that information, to provide an educational format for the practitioner, be it a physician, a dentist, an osteopathic physician, a physical therapist, chiropractor, all of the health healing professions.
Okay, this is a TENS unit. It's used for controlling pain.
Tally says in recent years, breakthroughs in technology have yielded equipment that can gradually alleviate much of the pain associated with TMJ. Units like this trans-electrical nerve stimulator can inhibit migraines by blocking the nerve that picks up pain. But Tally says even with such developments, there is still a long way to go in freeing people from the sometimes crippling disorder of TMJ. Uzi Brown, News 4, Nightcast.
You can break up your muscle spasm to begin to see it twitch.
And feed it gently into the...
Only about a quarter of the county's registered voters turned out to turn down the Yes All 6 proposals last June, but that was only an Oklahoma City vote. County election officials expect nearly twice that number to turn out tomorrow for the primary. And those electronic voting machines, which caused some problems in past elections, will be used countywide for the first time. Are election officials ready for the big test?
Yes, we are. We've used the machines before, but this is the first time we'll be using all 263 precincts in every precinct in Oklahoma County.
But it will all go for naught if the voter fails to mark the ballot properly.
The voters should always vote in the white square, but a lot of the voters will instead make an X or circle a candidate's name. If they do that, their ballot will not count.
Totals tape. Oh, these are your badges. Your two seals.
Oklahoma County precinct workers were picking up their materials today, a scene repeated in all counties. Statewide, election officials expect a fairly heavy turnout because of hotly contested local races and a general feeling in these down economic times among voters to clean house. To avoid the rush, they recommend you vote mid-morning or mid-afternoon and know what and whom you're voting for before you vote. Okay. George Tomick, News 4. Okay.
Has anybody in here heard any bad news tonight about...
Now, of course, in our case, not only are we a viable candidate, we're now leading into the runoff. and have a substantial margin established, and that's going to be very effective for us. We just need to protect and build what we have and continue on from there.
He calls his campaign aggressive. Actually, it was mudslinging, and you throw enough mud, it sticks. I think we found that out. You throw enough mud at Mike Turpen with a good record, or whoever, it's going to stick a little bit. And he discredited my record to a certain extent. What's David Walter's record? Who is he? Where did he come from? You know, who does he have to answer to?
Right down there. In here, she
Yeah,
probably
right. Way over.
Lock the two up.
Yeah.
Hardie's laying over in the ditch over there. Kids would have to come down through here in order to catch the bus.
And someone could jump out of the bushes, anything could happen to the youngster. And that's why I'm out here to see for myself, and it's infested with rats, big wood rats, and other things. I wouldn't go over in the bushes.
If you look at all the litter that we have around here that needs to be cleaned up, and we're using public taxpayer resources to go around and pick up something that shouldn't have been put there in the first place, that these people should know better. And they all know, because I wrote every one of them a letter and told them.
Yes, towards Buckhead.
A window.
We hope with the transfer of one person from here, we won't be impacted any other way. In other words, nobody will be on the street. We're looking at all different aspects of the operation. We're saving on supplies, we're saving on various things, fuel, whatever we can save on right now.
They can always ask for restitution to a victim, and in this case, if we feel that the city was a victim in the case, the avenue may be to take a position of that we may ask for restitution from the victim. Now, that's
Today was a day for regrouping. Hardee's kept its doors closed for most of the morning while workmen repaired glass and cleaned up after last night's 3-hour standoff. But while the restaurant devoted this day to putting the building back together, police have yet to unravel the mystery surrounding the ordeal.
We have David Price. He's a 23-year-old white male. And Henry Jeffries. He's a 20-year-old white male.
For now, the names are just about all authorities know concerning the Hardee's standoff. Police believe the two men took their own lives, but even that is yet to be confirmed. The big question is motive. Early speculation the two men were robbers is slowly being ruled out.
Robbery, I can't say that it's been totally ruled out, but from the information that we have at this point, robbery does not appear to be a motive. Seeing in that the cash receipts inside the store were not disturbed by the two gunmen.
While city police had the resources to piece together the nuts and bolts of yesterday's incident, it may be impossible to figure out why. The two men with the answers are dead, and the pair's reported history of mental disorder may further hinder police from coming up with rational conclusions for a very irrational act. In southwest Oklahoma City, Kurt Autry, News 4.
His endorsement. Thank you very much, Congressman. Appreciate it a lot.
Oklahoma in a very...
We are very confident in the legality of that transaction, and will stand by that transaction and have full faith in the Ethics Commission, if they pursue it, that they will find in our favor.
I think perhaps in the press's and the media's zeal for controversy sometimes, or zest for controversy, they've overlooked the real issues. And I'm extremely concerned about the issues facing the state of Oklahoma and the crisis facing Oklahoma.
We have done a review of our signatures, and we have found that the challenges, for the most part, that have been presented by the opposition have been frivolous, and they do not rise to the level, in my opinion, that would require the court to find the signatures invalid.
We're going to sell everything you could kind of say from soup to nuts, because we're selling animal cages all the way down to the hand tools that are not needed anymore, since they are consolidating here at the zoo and the racetracks coming in. So it's just a big auction to raise money for the zoo.
Went into his pocket and he pulled out a knife about 12 inches long and pointed it toward me and took about 2 steps in my direction, and I took about 2 steps backwards naturally. And by this time I kind of forgot about politics. It was a matter of self-survival.
Hardeman says he and another campaign worker talked the senator's son into putting the knife away, but he pulled it out again. Hardeman says at that point he drove off, called the police, and filled out a complaint against E. Melvin Jr. He says a few hours after the incident occurred, he received a call from Senator Porter.
And quote unquote told me that he would come down here and blow my brains out.
The senator has a different version. He admits he did call Hardeman after the incident, but he says he did not threaten to take his life.
I told Mr. Hardeman I'd kick his blank blank, but I never used any 4-letter curse word or anything. I did use a 3-letter curse word. If ass is a curse word, I said that.
But you didn't threaten to
blow his head off? My gosh, no. He's not even worth that. The election's not worth that. The Senate seat's not worth that. No.
He left the area by getting into an old red car with square taillights and a broken windshield. It was driven by another male and had 2 white male occupants in the back seat. And it struck us as strange in the fact that there was an unoccupied front passenger seat.
It was a big crowd, one reminiscent of opening day at last year's fair. But the some 500 people waiting in line this morning weren't interested in cotton candy or a stroll along the Midway. Their mission was much more important. All of these people need work.
I need a job real bad. I haven't worked in 5 years. I've been trying to get a job, and everybody looks at you, and when you say that you haven't worked in a while, they don't want to hire you.
I want them to call me today. Today, not tomorrow, not the next day, today. I need a job bad, man.
I really need a job bad because I was working for someone that didn't pay us. And I've got a son at home, and we're about to be evicted for lack of funds.
Between 300 and 500 applicants will land temporary employment. However, another group of equal size will be turned away. While state employment officials acknowledge the positions pay minimum wage and last only 10 days, they know for some a week's work at the fair will be a blessing. And turning away people has proved to be the toughest job.
It always hurts. Most of those people need jobs. Unfortunately, I can't hire all of them, or I can't cause all of them to be hired.
Hiring temporaries at the fair is an annual event, and longtime fair employees will tell you the lines seem to get bigger every year. The third week of September is a week many of these people have waited for all year. But the cold reality of a job at the fair is, for every one applicant that hears the word yes, 2 more will be told no. At the State Fair, Kurt Autry, News 4.
The bottom line is, while the president makes much to do out of the fact that he is providing 370 additional people for the southwest border, what he's not telling the nation is that he's already proposed to eliminate 770 nationwide.
You know, now, somewhere around like 3rd or 4th grade, I don't remember where it was, but somewhere in there is when you first start getting into serious. It's not even your parents. It's not your principal. Sometimes, in order to get people to like us, we do making all these great shots and doing all this great stuff and had the beer. No, let me with our bodies affects people around us. You see, there's an ancient saying that says strong drink is raging. Why? I have young people come up to me and tell me stories. Before I leave Hefner Junior High, I was here last year. And
order granting conditional licenses to the organization of the licensed applicants.
Part of the lease requirements that project, and for some reason, Racing City has
In fact, the rest of the development schedule is on track, exactly on schedule. We have people on the site today working. Everything has fit the development schedule perfectly, and we see no reason to believe that we're not going to have racing in September of '88.
I am the lucky one who gets to come up and pick up this beautiful golden girl. But Estelle and Rue and Bee and I all thank you. We're a match set. You can't split us up.
Predicting the timetables and the decisions of courts, but it is still, yes, technically possible, technically probable. Penny wise and pound foolish, and I would hope that any governor or any elected official would... As I said, I have given up predicting the timetables and the decisions of courts, but it is still, yes, technically possible, technically probable, but it is solely dependent upon the timetable by the justices of the Supreme Court, and they're the sole judges of that and the only ones who can set that timetable and make it work.
TP, just see what it looks like.